Hello, everybody. I'm Terry at Holding Your Space, and Dr. Gail is here today from Skywalking with Moon. Hi.
Hey, Terry, thanks for having me. We're laughing because we were trying to figure out how to double stream on both channels. And both Terry and I going, okay, I think we do this. Anyway, I think we got it. I think we did
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. And I've done it before, but you know how you do things, and you have no idea how you did them,
Oh, all the time. All the
right?
time. Yeah,
Right. You just feel your way into it, intuitives and technology.
exactly. You're just holding your breath, hoping it works. And then they're like, okay, how did I do that? I don't know. So,
Right.
but we've done it. We did it. We might have been a few minutes late, but we did it.
Yep, we got her done. Got her done. Hey, Sharon, how are you doing? It's Strawberry Rhubarb Tarot, Faye Cole, Nancy, Annie Bear, Lauren, Jane. Oh, and Susie's here. Thank you, Susie. Wonder Woman.
Susan had to come on at the last minute. She says, I'm not dressed to come on to help us.
The babysitter.
Yeah,
She's taking care of us. I think, thank goodness somebody's in control, right?
exactly. Oh my gosh, I wouldn't be this far along without her. She takes care of so many things and she's so detailed and oriented, and I am not. I just want to move forward. So she's,
Oh,
I,
I
I,
need a Susie. I need a Susie, man. I don't get it. I don't
yeah.
get it. I've got a website up, but I haven't activated it yet because I can't figure out how to connect Square to it. I
Well,
mean, it's so
she's
simple.
done that for me. I don't have any idea how to do that. Susan's
Yeah.
done all that for me. Now, it'd never be up if it was me.
Yeah. I've got a friend, he's gonna do it, Jason. So I'm gonna have Jason do it. But yeah. Phew. I mean, I can go out in space, right? We can go in space, we can go here, we can go there, but
Well, somebody did cover me on that. They said technology is so advanced and all you have to do is think about it when you're in space. You're not having to punch buttons or look at things. You just think it and it happens. So when we come to this, why isn't it doing it just what I want to do, what I'm thinking? So
yeah.
that's kind of what the hurdle is a lot of times when we are coming to 3D, is that we did everything by telepathic communication, and all our electronics work that way. And we don't have to sit there and punch buttons and do things.
Okay, this is a huge aha moment for me, Dr. Gal. Massive.
I gave you an excuse.
This is the story of my life. Yeah. Yeah. Well, and there's so many intuitives that have a learning disability or an attention deficit, and we don't learn the way our brains don't learn the way
Right.
that they teach, right?
Right.
And especially the kids that are coming in right now.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So
And there,
that
and I think the kids that are coming in now, I think that generation will be telepathic. I think they will be discovering that they can communicate without, words as much. And telepathic communication is such more detail because you get pictures. Well, I do. I receive pictures, and it's so easier to look at a picture than to sit there and talk and tell or describe it. When you get the picture flashed in your face or flashed in your head, you know exactly what they're talking about.
right? Yeah. Yeah. It's completely different. You just know it.
Right.
And instead of yeah.
Verbalizing.
Yeah. Which was our problem today.
Exactly.
Pushing buttons.
Exactly. So, yeah, so I just gave you the excuse that you can use for now on is I'm up there in the spaceship working telepathically. When I come down as 3D, I can't figure out what's going on.
No, I'm sorry. I'm a much higher vibration than that button.
Oh, that's a good one.
Oh my God, we're cracking each other up. Okay, here we go. Oh, so everybody's already asking questions and whatnot. Let me start starring stuff. And yeah, lots of great questions coming in already.
Yeah.
So I wanted to talk to you about galactics and travel and all this exciting stuff that you're working on, and the changes in our planet right now, and the vibration is
Yeah.
just like it's like pulsating.
Yes.
And we've been talking a lot about that, and working with the ley lines and grounding ourselves now.
Yes, yes.
Um,
I have a ley line that goes all the way through my apartment here in Mount Shasta. It goes all the way to the dog park, and then there's another one I had to go heal down on the trail. So I have been really having to work with the earth energy here at Mount Shasta, which I thought my job would be working mainly with the ETs, but I don't know if this is like my stepping stone or, I mean, I know I'm going through this big transformation, but I've been really immersed into the ley lines, the trees, I've always been immersed in the trees and the birds and everything, but not the ley lines. And I'm almost like Nancy Jean when she's talking about the ETs and stuff, she's kind of pushing them back. That's how I am with this stuff. I'm like, no, I'm the ET person. I'm not the ley line, the earth energy, but I am because I deal with
yeah.
the fairies and the gnomes, and I've dealt with all of them and had to do work for them.
Well, I love that you ask, how can I be of service? Or they tell you how to be of service.
Right.
So you always have a mission.
I always have a mission, and when this all started, it was the first time in my life when we went in with COVID that I had not been taking care of anybody all my life, being a nurse and then a chiropractor and then taking care of my dad with dementia. I always have had the caretaker role. And when we went in with COVID, it was the first time that I was going to be taking care of myself and only myself. And that's when this big awakening came and all these. And then now I'm of service to the ETs, and that's why I'm in Mount Shasta. I moved all the way across country from South Carolina to Mount Shasta to be of service for them. And I'm going to be here 2.5 to 3 years, and I'm going through a big transformation here. Not only Earth, but humans are too going through a big transformation. So, yeah.
Just on that Jetsons, meet the Jetsons, right?
Yes. Yes.
It's interesting because all the elementals coming out and all the sparkles and all the stardust coming in and the solar flares, it's like, pew, so much light.
Well, yeah, I mean, a big awakening, but my eyes open is when they did request me. It was the gnomes that came to me and requested me to go out to, it was 3 stars. I think it was in Peru and 5 stars in Alaska, and I needed to connect them to the trees. They're earthbound, so they got me because I'm not. And I had to go up to all these stars and connect them to the trees, and that's their communication and traveling. And I did not know that. That's how the gnomes, the fairies, all those travel across Earth, and it's also their communication with the galactic beings down to Earth. And if I hadn't gone out there and done that, I would have never known that information. And for me, I mean, it seems like they always use me for entertainment value. I tell you, when I got to the first star, I jumped up on it and was going to lasso and hook it to the tree. And they're just sitting there going, no, you just have to hook it and come on down. But anyway, that's how I did it. But anyway, it was 5 stars in one place and 3 stars, and it was that had been damaged from and disrupted their communication and their travel. So I was the one they chose because I was connected to the earth and the sky and could do that for them.
That is so interesting. So we're going to start using that because I love that. A lot of times in our meditations, when we're working with the ley lines, now I'm seeing them, and I love, because you're the only other person I've seen talk about this or heard talk about this, is the ley lines are also going from the center of the planet out, but and we connect them to the light grid, but connecting them to a star.
Right. Well, I think the stars are part of the light grids because
Okay.
I didn't really know how important. I mean, I knew how important stars are, but I didn't know how important they are a part of the communication, which we think is the grid. I think the stars are part of all that.
That makes perfect sense. That makes perfect sense. There's an interesting thing. So also I'm seeing, I don't know about you, but I used to always think of ley lines and whatnot as being linear. And now I'm realizing that everything is cyclical, right? Everything is in constant motion.
Actually, I look at ley lines and even the grid as almost like a net that's flexible. That's how I look at it. In fact, I look at it that way
Mm.
because I used to go up there all the time with my dog Moon, who's passed, and we would go up there.
Um,
That would be our great time, and we would use that the net like a hammock. We'd lay out there and look at the stars and the
yes,
moon, and so that's kind of how I look at it. 'Cause it's flexible like a net.
I
It's
love that. I love that because we do lay on the grid.
uh,
I think that's one of the most beautiful things you can do is
right.
floating in space.
Yeah,
Um,
that was a great time.
yeah, right?
We started going on missions and had to work.
Yeah. So, okay, I've got something I wanna show you, and this is just coming into me. It's not like anything that we planned, you guys, so, um
Maybe this conversation was planned.
okay, there's this thing. Now it's the lemon. You can't really see it. Let me take myself out. Here.
I'm big.
Never mind.
I scared myself.
I'll show it to you later.
Okay.
Anyway, but it looks kinda like the light grid, but it's a big lemon, and it's, like a light in the center, and then around it is a sphere of yellow, golden, white, yellow, and somebody told me that it's a ship,
Oh, could be. Where
but,
did you get the picture?
um, it came in from the thing that's out there. You know that thing out there?
Because I can tell, even though I can't see it, it is a ship, and it's a. It looks. I mean, yeah, I could tell it's a ship.
Yeah, interesting. So, yeah, that has so much resonance. So, when we're from different planets, do different ships resonate more with us, or are we all like, um,
Well,
intergalactic on all the ships?
I think because I've been on a lot of different ships because of delivering different ETs that I've
Yeah,
rescued to different ships, and because I am I'm a human Arcturian hybrid, I resonated big time with the Arcturian ship, and I didn't even know why. In the beginning, because I kept going, even on my YouTube, I'm going, "Oh, it's over the Arcturian ship. It's so beautiful. I love that ship. That's my favorite ship." Well, it's because that's probably where I did all my training, and that's my people, and so I resonated more with the Arcturian spaceships than I do the other ones, even though my very first one that I recall was a medical spaceship, which is um, which is where I was going to work and being trained. So but yeah, I do think you resonate, and I think your star family shows up in your spaceship, and I do think that's what you're more comfortable. I mean, how what have you found out? Is that true for you?
I think it is. Yeah, the Lemon Slice Nebula. That's it, Wendy. Yeah.
Oh,
Um, thank you, Wendy. Brilliant. And it is, yeah, that's where I come from. In fact, I have a necklace of that, the flower of life. And I remember jumping off that yellow and white grid and saying, I'm going in. And everybody around me was
a
saying,
great place to be from. A lemon slice nebula is beautiful. Really,
everybody around me said, oh my God, she's going in.
was that going into Earth or going into space?
Going into this planet, into
This,
this body. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, and this incarnation.
yeah.
And and they were like, "Oh my god."
Yeah. I think that a lot of people feel like that because this is actually my third planet that I've gone for the ascension process. So that's what I do is I travel for ascensions, and I travel with two other beings that are not in the physical form. But this is my third planet to help the ascension process. So that's why I'm here.
Wow. Are you guys all, Octurians or of that star family or
No, there's one that's a Palladian. I'm Arcturian, and I'm not real sure of the other one because we usually travel in our light bodies, so we don't have like a physical form. We just look like outline of a kind of a whitish bluish light, like our body. But and whenever we go to a planet. I mean, this is one of the realization of this was when I went to the water planet, which is Cetus B, not Sirius B, Cetus B,
Cetus.
and they brought in a rack of clothes, and what was hanging on that rack was a whale body. So I zipped off my human body, hung it up, and put that whale body on, and went swimming with the whales. And so when I took my human body off, I saw my body is just a light being, and the other two that were with me were light beings. And so that was when I came to realization of how I did travel as a light body that's kind of whitish, bluish coloring, and just putting on whatever outfit I need to be on, like on Earth, put on the human body.
Yeah, yeah, I love that. The whales and the lions and the dragons have all been coming in for us a lot lately.
Yeah, I recently had a lion show up in my face. He was like right here, put his forehead to my forehead, his nose to my nose, and started inhaling my breath. And I thought, I just jumped back going, what in the world? This thing is taking my breath away. And I realized it was a healing thing that he was doing. But at that moment, it just freaked me out.
Yeah, I've been feeling their breath too. That's funny. Well, synchronistic, so it shouldn't be, but I've been feeling that big sigh and that breath as and they're so soft.
Yeah. Except when you open your eyes and see a lion in your face.
Yeah.
A little disconcerting. It's like, it's been a long time since something shocked me like that, but that did shock me. Because I have them all the time coming in ETs coming into my bedroom at night. And, that doesn't scare me anymore. In the beginning it shocked me, but now, but that lion, forehead to my forehead and nose to nose. That was a little close.
That would be. What about the size? Were they just massive?
Yeah, this was massive. And I actually think it was hindsight. It was a Lyran. I don't think it was actually a lion. I think it was a Lyran because I am connected with them also. And so that's what I think it was.
Does your eye water when you're in spirit?
My eyes, my nose, and it's getting worse when I start channeling and connected with them, and it gets more and more. As we go on, it'll be more and more. I'll be just crying.
Mine does too. Mine does the same thing. It's always dripping. I don't wear makeup anymore because it's just.
I don't wear any mascara anymore for that reason.
Yeah.
It needs to be all under here.
Right?
Yeah. When I'm like doing this and it's like, okay, you sit down. Okay, it's not going to happen today. Okay, well, now it's happening.
Yeah. Tony says, have you or will you be discussing?
Okay. All right. and I think it's going to be even more because there's two of us here together like this.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the channeling is going to be a little stronger.
Right.
Yeah.
Everybody's got amazing questions. I'm sorry, Tony, I put that up there and we'll just get to it in a minute. So tell me about the tall white ones. So we were seeing so many tall white ones coming in.
Well, most of the time I'm not as connected to the tall white ones. And I think, as humans, we label so many different species as tall whites as we call them grays, and there's so many species in the gray category. And the tall whites, when I see them show up, they're usually showing up with, and it's usually a healing thing that I see them with. Whenever, especially if I'm reading somebody and I see a tall white and a couple of grays show up, then I know that they're there for a healing. That's my classic. When I see those three together, that they're coming to that person to do some kind of healing for them. And so the tall whites, I'm not real sure. I think they use the grays to come down to 3 or 5D or 3D. I'm not sure if they can bring their energy down as low. I think they might use them as like a stepping stone to do their work for them, and they direct them how to do it. So, or either is that they don't want to bring their energy down as low, and the grays have an easier time doing it. That's my feeling, and that's kind of how I look at them, because they usually are stepping back and giving instructions. So I do think it's a little more difficult, or I'm not real sure if it's difficult or they've just found a way not to have to bring their vibration that low. They've found somebody, the Greys can do that for them.
Okay, that makes perfect sense because I feel like they're so stoic and reserved and serene, but just,
Yes,
you
yes.
know, that's the perfect word.
A good description, though. So anyway, when I'm dealing with them, I am usually seeing them on healings, and I've never seen one by themselves. It's always with a Gray. So I don't know if they're like interpreters, or I just think they're a liaison for
Yeah.
the vibration.
Yeah. Yeah. That makes perfect sense. And it's, there's so much activation going on right now.
Right.
What about solar flares right now?
I don't know about the solar flares. I haven't really connected with that, or they haven't connected me to that, or that's maybe not my job to deal with the solar flares. I don't know if you have anything on them at all. I mean, I know a lot of people are talking about it, but I just
Yeah.
haven't seen it as like coming to me as like a red flag.
Good. Good. I think it's good. I think it's all coming in, and as I understand it too, a lot of the ships up there are kind of protecting us in protection
Oh,
mode from some of
definitely.
them.
Oh, yeah. We have lots of ships protecting us. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So do you think we have, I'm going to ask you some of my questions first.
Okay.
We go on to everybody else's and then we will. Do you think that we each have, like, not each, but different areas have big ships over the center, like over a city, like ships that are, what does
Um,
it look like?
Yeah, well, my very first ship that I was being trained on was called, well, I renamed it. First, it started off called the Slime, and I didn't like the name of that. And because
Yeah.
I was going on a rescue mission with it, I called it my little ambulance. Well, that ship came from Spain. Actually, the people that were training me were from Spain, so they were over that. And his name was Mato, was the one that taught me how to fly. And so they do, and it was a smaller spaceship. So they do divvy up areas, but I think they have big blanket spaceships out there, and I can only go by what I've experienced. This is not everybody's experience. I can only go by what I've done. So there's lots of big spaceships out there, hospital spaceships, which I was very associated with mainly. And I mean, my second one was military and medical, but yeah, there's not smaller spaceships, larger spaceships, and I'm getting the feeling that there's a humongous one out there that's actually like the mother spaceship, and that I get the feeling it's probably almost like the size of Earth itself. Probably not that, but I just feel like it's a huge one out there that actually is in charge of it all.
Wow. That makes perfect sense. And so interesting. Um, And then I'll ask one more question, then we'll get to everybody else's.
Okay.
Are we jumping? Like, what does it feel like when you're getting on your ship, or are you jumping out of your body like astral projection, or what do you feel like you're doing?
Well, there's two ways I go. Astral projection for me is going out and almost like remote viewing. I'm
Yeah.
I'm not in my body when I do that. I feel like I'm kind of like a ghost when I go out and do that. And it's when I go and look and have fun and just explore. But and I'll travel that way. But to traveling to work, I go in my light body. And that's totally different. I go in my light body, and I've even gone in my light body and astral traveled at the same time with my human body here, a light body on the spaceship, and I had astral travel to another spaceship just to see what they were doing. So you have the ability to do all that. So I think I've been fortunate to see exactly how I do that, because I used to in the beginning get that question all the time and I couldn't answer it. But eventually they showed me what I did. And so working is my light body, and exploring, having fun is my astral traveling body.
I love that. I love that. When you're in your light body, do you put on a light suit, or is it just bam, you're in it and you're done? Or do you see yourself physically? Like when I ask to travel, I see myself like I'm a gymnast and I'm like backflipping out of my body.
No, no, but I have a lot of funny stories about my going up, because when I was going on missions and things, my friend, her name's Meg, that used to help me through this. One day she came to me, she goes, "Exactly what are you wearing when you go on these missions?" And I was like, deer in
Ooh.
headlights, freaking out, going, "What I wear to bed?" She said, "You might want to rethink what you wear to bed." And I was sitting there horrified at that moment. I mean, horrified that that's how I had been showing up. And so, anyway, it could have been too many times later that they put me in a uniform on my spaceship on the Astar Medical One. And I have a whole funny story about that because they did. I was the first human on the spaceship, and they're used to dealing with skinny little ETs, and
Yeah.
they didn't have somebody who had curves. Well, they put me in a uniform that was so tight I could hardly walk in, and then scooted me to my first Galactic conference, which was first contact. I had to go sit down in that uniform in front of these people, even though they were human and didn't understand it. But I was walking stiff-legged and trying to sit down, and I was so embarrassed because everything was bulging out. I tell you, sometimes I think they bring me on up for entertainment purpose. Just see what I mean. They eventually gave me one that fit, and they surprised me with it. And I'm going, "Oh, thank
Oh.
goodness," because that one was
Oh.
pretty miserable. Now that material was just fascinating because it didn't rip, it didn't do anything, but it was like a super, super, super tight girdle all over your body.
Wow. I mean, we could make some money on those, don't you think?
Yeah, yeah, it was really embarrassing.
Yeah.
I even had to go up to talk to the captain in front wearing that uniform. They didn't know anything different because I was only human, so they didn't know. Anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like everybody's so loving,
Yeah.
and not really like being judgmental.
No, they weren't judgmental. Of course, they couldn't be. They didn't even know what a human was supposed to look like in a uniform.
Oh, perfect.
So,
I'll take one of those.
yes.
Oh, I've got a shout out. Hi, Sun Psychic Jean. It's good to see you here. And Sharon Stipe. Spanx ain't got nothing on that, Rose Blue says. You know what?
That's for sure.
That would be the merch that would sell out, you know, our
It
merchandise
would, but it
area.
was not the most comfortable.
Yeah, no, it's not for me. It's not everything's stretch.
You'd have to have those legs cut out because I could tell you, I had a hard time with walking and I had a hard time sitting. And I was so embarrassed. And I kept thinking it was going to rip. As soon as I sat down, I just knew it was going to go. And it was my first meeting. It was first contact meeting. It's when we were discussing. I wasn't on that committee for very long, but it was when they had picked out a guy that was going to be the first one to come down and present. Here we are at ETs, and so that was my first meeting wearing that uniform. I came up. I had been at the beach with my dog and my dad, and we came up in a bathing suit, sandy, with a beach towel wrapped around me, and they just looked at me, and I went, "Oh, this isn't happening." I didn't know I was going to a meeting. I'd shown up in my underwear. What was the big deal here? But they took us and cleaned us up and sent us into that meeting in that tight uniform.
That's funny. That's funny. And they think all of us look like that. That's okay. That's all good.
There's
Um,
more humans on that spaceship now, and we all have decent uniforms. Whenever I go there, they're fine now. But I was the
um,
first.
I love that. I went to a retreat and it was one of those silent retreats where you're in meditation. It was an American version, a Disney version. It was only 6 days of silence, but we all got into our senses and everything. And I had a vision of the Reverend Al Sharpton. And me, instead of thinking, oh, I was thinking about being of service and how he's just does all these beautiful things. But what I was really attracted to was his tracksuit that he used to wear. It was stretchy and comfortable. And he was serving, but he was serving in comfort.
right.
course, now he's, wearing a big suit every time,
Yeah. I didn't know
but I
how
thought,
comfortable I was serving.
huh?
I said I didn't know how comfortable I was serving until Meg asked me what I was wearing on these missions.
Yeah, right? Yeah. Yeah, I think we need to be comfortable when we're serving. Okay, let's get to some of these questions. We've got some really good questions here. We'll pull up. Nancy Vasquez, can you give more examples of teacher healers? I've been told I am one.
Examples of teacher healers. I'm not real sure, Nancy, what you're asking about teacher healers. Are you wanting names of people or types of teacher healers?
Hmm.
Do you have any idea, Terry? What?
No, shamans are certainly teacher healers, and crones. The idea of um,
Right, there's
an
so
elder
many
of a tribe.
career-wise examples. I got you.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
um, well, it's like a long list. I mean, because Nancy, I do healings, and I can't classify what I do as a healing. And I do think, um, you know, that's going to be an individual. I think we all healers do individual things, and I think Nancy, when you start start taking courses, and it's going to awaken your healing. Um, because I remember starting off with some of that, and it I would take one class and it totally awakened, and I would find out this is how I do it, and I didn't need to take the class anymore. All it did was just awaken what I already knew. So I think, Nancy, to find out about that, are you wanting to know what healers to take a class from? Maybe that's what you're actually wanting to know.
Oh, yeah. Oh, she says, I'm still finding my purpose.
Oh, okay, okay. So,
Okay.
Nancy, that's what I would suggest is start taking classes,
Yeah.
and don't look at the class as that's what you're going to do. Just look at it as a springboard or an opening for you to find out what you actually do, because yours is going to be different from everybody else's. So that's what I said. I mean, Terry, what do you suggest?
I agree. And we were talking about before we came on how a lot of times we have visions.
Right.
And so we start learning something, and then you remember, like you start reading a book and you know everything in the rest of the book, or a movie and you know the ending. And all of a sudden it just clicks and you're like, oh, I've done this in other lifetimes. I get it. I'm back. I'm back. I'm back.
Exactly. And that's happened to me so many times. I'm going, oh, I'm going to learn so much in this class. And I go in the class, and the first thing I do is I start the class, and I'll have a guide show up, and they'll go, this is how you do it.
Yeah.
And so I'll go, okay, well, let me try it. When you break out in class, I'll try it, and I go, all right, well, that's how I do it. That's what I need. I just needed something to open it up. And
Yeah.
so that's, Nancy, that's what I would suggest. And don't, like, you can take shaman classes, you can take Reiki, you can take all sorts of things, but it's going to be your own thing. I have a feeling you already have it in you. In fact, I'm getting that you do already have it in you. They're just wanting you to awaken that part of you.
Yeah. And just looking at her picture, the angel wings, the angel healings, work with your angels on it. I'm hearing.
Yeah.
They're coming in to help you with all that. Julie says, I'm 64 and still learning. Yep. Every day.
Yes, definitely. Yes.
Every day. Let's see. Jane says, I think Chiron said autistic kids are not bound by linearity. Is that a word? Linear. The way I say it isn't right. I'm sure the way you say it is, Jane and Gail.
Yeah.
Like others are.
Yeah, they think differently, and they're really they're in another dimension already. They're actually above us, and they don't. As you're saying, their linear thinking is not just 3D. They're bouncing back and forth in different dimensions, and they're connected to their other dimensional people that they might be talking to and guiding them. And we're not seeing them because we're here in the 3D. So you're exactly right, Jane.
Yeah, and I feel like their bodies aren't always made for this planet.
No. Mm,
Yeah,
right.
their
But eventually will
sensitivity.
be when we transition. I think they'll have an easier time.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, definitely, and, a lot of times that's why they create their own little worlds. I mean, uh, Leonardo da Vinci didn't speak till he was 6, and, if you look at so many, I think, people that have done all these great things and really been in that creative consciousness, they're, they're a little bit out there.
Yes. Yes. Of course, people tell me I'm a little out there when I talk. I like I appear normal, and then when I talk about what I do, everybody's like, "Who is that weird girl?" She works at the
She's flying her
EPS.
freak flag. That's how I like to say it.
Yes, yes,
We all have to do that every day, I believe.
yes.
I
Yeah.
believe.
That's my favorite card in my Starseed Oracle deck is the one that said, "Embrace your weirdness" or "Embrace your something like that. I just love
Yeah,
that card, and
yeah.
yeah, just embrace it. That's what I've done.
Sharon, hello, beautiful. Strawberry rhubarb tarot. I would love to remember my nightly experiences on the triangular craft on which Dr. Gal said I worked. How to remember.
How to remember? So well, every because I remember so much, people try to compare themselves to me, and I'm actually the odd one, but I remember so much. I think it's more normal for you not to remember all of it. I'm not sure why I am one that has been chosen to remember so much of what I do. But Sharon, I would consider you more normal than me, that you're only remembering parts of it. I think it'll eventually come to you. Um, but yeah, that's the only thing I can say is to be sure to be prepared to write your dreams down. Now, so much is happening in your dream state. Either have your phone ready just to put a couple of words in it, and or either have a pad to write it just a couple words. You don't have to write the whole dream down. Just a few words that will make you remember it would be the best thing I can think of that would get you started. I used to roll over all the time and would grab my phone and just type in a couple of words, and it would stimulate me to remember. But if I don't do that, which I don't always do that, and sometimes I wake up and go, "Oh, remember I had a dream, and it was important, but I didn't write a couple of words down to make me remember." So um, that's what I would suggest. So, how about you, Terry?
Well, yeah, I love that, and I also feel like, in the dream state, I asked my guides, to bring me, answers, and then I said, "I'm not hearing you." They made me a set of headphones, and they took one of
I like that. Headphones.
they took their heads, and they cut it in half, and there was a mouth over here and a mouth over here. It was like a
Oh
half
my
a face, and they made me the headphones, and now I can hear them a little better. But obviously, and I'm sure you're doing that already, Sharon, is working with your guides on it because you're so
goodness.
talented. But but I think that physical thing of having that space suit or something tangible that we can kind of think about while we're here, and those headphones really get it for me because now I just put my headphones on.
That's a good idea. Get your headphones on. I'm not sure. Man, I might not get any sleep if I put headphones on. Just kidding. People look at me all the time. Let's get up and do this.
Well, their face is moving too when the headphones on. They're talking. Their lips are
I would
moving.
do that during meditation, probably not while I sleep.
Yeah, yeah. Hypnicity asks, "Am I going places when I'm sleeping? I don't remember any dreams anymore."
Ethnicity. Yes. It looks like to me you're working on a spacecraft. Looks like a small one though. Oh. Um, Go ahead, Terry, because I've got something weird coming in on this one.
I kind of feel like you've got a co-pilot on that, and there's microphones that you guys use, those little mics, kind of like, but it kind of looks to me like, what was that movie where their eyes turned bright blue? Dune.
Like,
Kind of,
what?
kind of like a microphone that they
Oh,
used
yeah.
in Dune when they were using energy with it, and pew, you know, pew.
They're going into almost like orbs, flying into orbs is what I'm seeing, like blue and yellow. And I've not seen going into orbs like this before. But she's
Wow.
flying in, they're flying into orbs.
Yeah. Working with some sort of energy like that, where you've got that, with just a mantra or a thought, you're just phew,
It's absolutely
giving that
beautiful where they're
energy.
flying into. And oh, this area is your like your base. That's what they're telling me. That when you fly in there, it's like you're flying into orbs and it leads you to where y'all are stationed. It's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
Wow. That is amazing. I love that. Um, now, so many of us are taking pictures of our orbs now when we wake up, right? I love that. That's like my favorite thing to make me feel like I'm not alone. You wake
Yeah.
up and you see it and you're like, oh, yay, party, party. And um, so, so what can you tell us about those? I mean, what do you feel like they are? What do you feel like they're?
Oh, for me, I personally think that's beings um,
Yeah.
that are showing up in orbs. I just recently had one I hadn't seen before was a small white light that was flashing. And I think it started flashing to make sure I saw it. Like, here I am, look at me. But I do think that's just beings. And instead of taking on a body, I think that's how they are, that's what they are. They're just orbs, that's energy. And they're just showing up as energy like that. That's my
Yeah.
thought.
And then the ones that come around the animals, because my animals always have orbs around them. You
Yeah.
think those are elementals, or do you think they're just another?
I just think they're just energy, just a different type of energy, I think, or the same energy actually, because sometimes I have trouble. I always think that our animals are so different energy wise than us. I think there's so many animals that are actually on our almost our level or staying with us and they're part of our family. And that's why we see them all the time when we go on the other side. So I think they're basically the same orbs. It might be an animal orb, but that animal orb will be coming to you too. So I don't see a difference in their orbs and our orbs.
Okay, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I feel the same. I know that my cat used to be was a dog twice in my this lifetime already.
I
And he's
think my
never.
cat had to have been. Yeah, when I first got her, she's 15 now, but she was a mean little female cat, an
Yeah,
alley cat, just, and I'm going, and she would chase. I mean, I had two German Shepherds at the time. She ruled them, even like at 8 weeks old, she started ruling them. And I went, this cat was not always been a cat.
right. Yeah. Okay. Wendy, I gave up trying to write down my dreams. It seems as though I'm not supposed to. As soon as I pick up pen and paper, my brain is scrambled and I cannot remember no matter what.
Well, Linda, you might not be supposed to be remembering at this time because there is a reason for that. Um, as I said, I usually pick up my phone and put a couple of words in it, but um, there might be that they don't think you're ready yet to remember. Um, and it might be some fear that you have, some past trauma maybe that you've had that you still have that fear to get over, and they're just not letting you see it yet. What do you think?
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like and you might be working a lot too when you're dreaming. But
Oh yeah, I feel like she's working a lot. I just don't think she's ready to see it. It seems like to me
yeah.
there's some kind of trauma in the past.
Yeah. Yeah. You can always ask your guides for a set of headphones or glasses.
Or help you heal that trauma. I think that's what she needs to do. Maybe you need to go to a shaman, Wendy, to figure out that whatever that trauma is with the ETs. Because I feel like there's some kind of trauma there. And it looks like to me it was a trauma that was on a planet. And so I think maybe you need to work through that, and then you might be able to see a little more. But right now, it looks like to me they're protecting you. That's what I'm seeing. They're protecting you because you're not ready, and you do need to get over that trauma before they're ready to show you more. That would make sense. They don't want to scare you again.
Yeah, I feel like you're exactly where you're supposed to be, Wendy.
Yeah.
That's what I'm hearing too. So, I mean, you'll be, once you get there, you'll be hearing it or seeing it. Isabel asks, hello, why do I feel the Arcturians are my family? It is like my soul loves them so much.
They probably are. Yeah, I was connected to the Arcturians also before I found out that I was actually a hybrid of them. So I think that's pretty true with a lot of people. You know who you're connected to, and so yeah, the Arcturians are probably your family.
Yeah.
What you get to?
Yeah, I do. I feel like we have an affinity for who is supposed to be our family, or who we know, we remember. The
Right.
more we find out, the more we remember.
Or what we feel connected to. As I said, didn't even know I was Arcturian, but I kept going on Arcturian spaceships because I go, oh, this is my favorite spaceship. I love the Arcturian spaceships. So, I was connected to it. And that's why, which I found out later, the reason why I love the Arcturian spaceships.
Yeah, yeah. And colors too, don't you think?
Oh, I love the colors of the Arcturian spaceship. Oh my gosh. Going there, well, the first one I went on, it was all blues and purples and a little bit of amber on it. And
Yeah.
but it was a little quiet. It's a super quiet spaceship, and here comes this noisy human on there. But that was one of the big things, is the colors and how quiet it is, because everybody's telepathic, so you don't hear the chatter.
Yeah. Wow. That sounds like heaven.
Well, it was a little disconcerting at first, like, nobody comes on this spaceship. Yeah, I'm the noisy one.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Rossi's Den. Dr. Gail, are you able to tell people's star families?
I am, Rosie. The problem with the star families, or telling people star families, there's so many of us, especially if you're interested in the show. You've been on many, reincarnated on many, many different planets. And a lot of times it's what shows up. And sometimes it's hard to dig into exactly where you're from, because this personality might show up, say you're a Lyran, that might be showing up. And if you're a Lyran, you've been on different, because their world exploded, or not exploded, got destroyed. They went to all different planets. So a Lyran's the hardest one to tell, because they could show up like a Palladian, an Arcturian, depending on where they went when their world was destroyed. But let me see if I can get into yours, Rosie. Let me see what you might be. I don't know why I said Lyran, because maybe you're a Lyran. Yeah, you're a Lyran. I'm getting the humongous yes on that.
I just noticed the picture that she has.
Oh, it's a cat. I didn't even notice that. Got you. Yeah, you're from Lyra, and I'm thinking your family went to the Pleiades. Let me check on that, see if that's where you went. Yes. So you have Lyran and Pleiades traits, because your family escaped to the Pleiades, but you are Lyran. So there you go, Rosie.
I love their energy, the Lyrans. They come in, they're so graceful and silky, and I mean, just what's the difference between the golden and the white Lyrans? Or is there a difference?
Well, it's just like everything else. The grays, you have like grays, tall grays, short grays. It's just a
Yeah.
different, just like us, just different.
Yeah. Okay.
One of my first guides was a Lyran. She was with me because she was pregnant, and the Lyrans, when they get pregnant, it's like a call of duty. They stay pregnant for 24 months, and they have to go to their tribe and stay there for 24 months. Which she was not that type. She was the one that worked off planet and was more military, and so they gave her permission to come as my guide at that time because she was so stir crazy. And but she said they only did one pregnancy, and it was like a tour of duty. They didn't like want to get pregnant. They were asexual also, and they didn't want to get pregnant. They just had to. It was like their job. And if somebody couldn't get pregnant, then somebody would have to volunteer to take over that pregnancy. And she says it wouldn't be her. This is my tour. I'm not doing this again.
I can understand that. Man. Annie Bear, this is I'm a Turian Palladian hybrid made for Earth after the loss of Lemuria.
Yeah, that's a very common combination. And in Lemuria, that was the Sirius B's, Lemurians, and the the Palladians, Sirius B, and the Arcturians that were there. So, that would make sense.
Yeah. Have you been discussing the crash with 2 Palladians near Las Vegas?
I haven't, because I tapped into it and it's all true. I mean, there's nowhere for me to go with that. It's all true. Whatever they said is all true. And I'm going. The only thing I had was I didn't get Palladians with them when I first tapped into that energy. I actually got insectoids, and I'm not sure why, because when you see the pictures, it doesn't look like that. But immediately, that's what I got, was that they were insectoids. But otherwise, everything is true. I think we don't know what species that was, but everything they said was true. And the only reason why we were hearing about it was because of the police had it on their scanner, the orbs or the crash, and but it's all true. There's nowhere to go with that except for what species that was, and I don't know that we know that species.
Wow. Do you think also that the news picked it up right away has something to do with it? They couldn't hide it.
I think it's because it was on the scanner.
Oh,
I think
okay.
because there's a policeman had physical evidence, saw it, and I think that's the reason why it got some traction. I think if it hadn't been for that, if it just had been a couple of people reporting it, I don't think it would have gone anywhere.
Yeah.
And they have been hushed now, so they're not talking anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. They're not talking about it. There was a thing in in one of my science journals the other day about that they just found out that fish sing to each other.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And that's not getting around. You're not hearing a thing about it. I mean, all this stuff that they're, it's, Lauren asks, I am curious about the tall whites. I've been told my healing team are 2 female tall whites.
Well, I mean, Lauren, as I said, I think we put a lot of things in the categories of tall whites, grays. Yeah. But yeah, the healing team, if you've got 2 tall whites on your healing team, you're pretty special, because usually, as I said, I usually see a tall white with the grays because of, I think, bringing down their energy to be able to do that. I think they use the grays. But yeah, Lauren, I'm not sure what else you want me to tell you about them, but I do see, whenever I see them with people, I know that they're here for healing. So you got a great team.
Nice. I think she's got a birthday too, don't you, Lauren? Let's see. My Tribe Tarot. Oh, Jeff said, or no, this isn't Jeff. This is My Tribe. Sorry. Solar flares will continue until morale improves. A meme I saw. That's a good one. I like that. Thanks. Yeah. Okay. Here's a question by My Tribe. Do you work with all the Merkaba? I am so curious about that.
That's so strange you ask, because it could be just a few weeks ago that I had a Merkaba outside my bedroom window, and I couldn't figure out why there was a Merkaba, and it was spinning, and I couldn't see. I kept trying to see if I could see anybody in it because a friend of mine said, "Did you see yourself in there?" And I went, "It was just outside my bedroom. It kept spinning, and you could see the lights changing and spinning." Um, so I just thought it was fascinating, and obviously, I think a lot of us travel in a Merkaba, and and I have seen myself going inside Earth in a Merkaba.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's our form of travel. A lot of our forms of travel. What do you think, Terry?
I agree. I agree. I feel like that energy and the spinning, the rotation of it is just like atoms splitting or something. I don't know, but it's just boom.
Yeah,
Um,
you just crawl in and go away.
yeah.
And that's the first time I went to Merkaba. I went spinning down into Earth, and yeah, that was strange. And this time it was outside my bedroom. So I'm sure I must have been traveling in there, but I'm not real sure about that.
The first time I remember going into Earth and meeting a guardian that was like guarding the area,
Oh wow.
and that was really interesting. And he kind of looked like what is that, Easter Island or something? Those
Yeah.
tall, yeah,
Statues.
yeah, yeah. That's what he looked like, and they were guarding it, and I just smiled and shined my light, and they're like, okay. You don't know any better, they let you in.
Yeah. I've had quite a few dreams here lately about Easter Island and those statues, and I'm not sure why.
Yeah, I wonder what it is with them. I felt like they were the keepers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. Rose Blue asks, sometimes I startle awake. Does that mean a hard landing?
Ah, well, that's a good question.
That's a really good question.
I don't necessarily think so, Rose. Um, I'm not really sure how to answer that because there's a lot of things that can kind of startle you and might feel like a hard landing, but I do think sometimes it is, but not always. I just feel like you're just being startled or whatever. Might feel your bed move, or because that's what I'm seeing is you get startled, and it might be just a dream that's startling you and your bed shaking. But then I am seeing you, and it's kind of funny what they're showing me as you do sometimes a hard landing, and yeah, and it's like the hard landings you go in your body butt first is what they're showing me. It's kind of so funny that they're showing me that.
Rose, I think you might be kind of like me and you like doing that acrobatic stuff and jumping in. So that's my favorite way to come back in. And I've been doing that since I was a little kid. Sharon, Dr. Gail, you are a healer. You have adjusted my hips several times and given me much relief.
Good. I know
That's
we're having
beautiful.
the Solaris Healing Center tomorrow at 2 o'clock Pacific time, maybe 5 o'clock Eastern time.
Oh,
So
good.
yeah,
I show up at those. I don't always say anything.
well, you're in the blue healing light, so you get instantly healing as soon as you walk in, because that's an extremely important light that's actually calming your nervous system down to let the healing begin. So just being there is a tremendous amount of healing going on.
So, what do you feel like that blue light is?
Well, I mean, the Solaris Healing Center, is a big center on the star Solaris, where it's where our guides, our masters, our angels, power animals all go there for themselves for healing. And so I'm able to energetically bring that down and do my own healings with the people. So when you walk into that Solaris healing, you immediately walk into a blue light, and um, and that's what everybody's in there. They're standing around on a table. Somebody gets on the table, but they're instantly being healed just being there. And so that blue light, as they have told me, it calms the nervous system down to allow the healing to begin. And so, and after I heal somebody, they need to stay in that blue light because it's calming the nervous system down. That's
Are you holding space for that blue light, or are you like chronically sending it, or how do you envision that when?
Well, I take about an hour to prepare it before a show, and I
Wow.
bring in the room with the blue light, and there's a
Wow.
table there, and when I'm on each person, I'm putting them on the table, whether I'm adjusting them or doing something else with them. They go on the table, and I usually get to about the first 15 people during the show. But no matter if I don't get to you or not, you're getting that healing light. And not everybody needs anything more than just that blue healing light. That's to calm their nervous system down, to let their own body heal itself, to take over. So it's a really powerful thing that they're allowing me to use and help people with.
That is so beautiful. My dog likes that too. Gina says, I was told by another reader that the Easter Islands feature for me. I am a part of the keepers. Who knows?
All right, Gina, so why is it so important to me right now? Why am I going there all the time now, Gina?
Yeah,
If you're the keeper,
right?
you must be inviting me there.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm not real sure why I've been seeing that so much lately, but I have, and it's something that'll be able to reveal itself. I have a feeling it's going to be part of the earth energy. That's what I have a feeling it is.
Interesting. Yeah. So, like these, wonder if my galactic cards are flying off my desk as we're talking.
I'm sitting there thinking, that's what I'm seeing. I'm going, it's a connection again to Earth, to the galactic.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Tony asks, so many questions. We need another live, or please, more. Explain which galactic series are inhabiting on Earth. Is it true they have bases and caves in the ocean, Antarctica, and Moon?
Yes, definitely. They're all over here. A lot of us, we were expecting to see them in 3D, but their vibration is higher. So they're standing next to you a lot of times, and you just can't see them. But they are here. They've been here. They've been here longer than humans have been here. And they are in all these bases. Um, so let's see what it's got. What species? It's all different species. The platings are the number one ones here. They're the most prominent that are here. The Octurians, people from Series B, of course, the reptilians, and the good reptilians. Most of the bad ones have been kind of chased away now. And but there's so many different other species, and so many that I can't even name that I've seen that sit on the Galactic Federation with me. And I'm looking at them going, what is that? What species is that? How do I name that one? So, but yeah, I would say the Palladians are the most prominent. The reason why the Palladians are here, they were the last ones that had the ascension process for their planet. So that this is like payback. They're coming here to help us. And the Arcturians actually helped the Palladians ascend. And so now the Palladians are helping us ascend.
That's beautiful. What do you think the moon is? Is it a planet or is it a ship?
Well, I've been trained on the moon. So I've gone and taken a lot of classes on the moon. I feel it might be like a combination. Like it could have been some form of like planet or asteroid, or not asteroid, but some kind of form, and that they created something inside of it.
Yeah.
That's my feeling. I'm not sure. I'm not. I just know I've gone in the backside and have done a lot of training, and that's my feeling of that. It almost like it could have been a big rock that was sanded down, and let's put this moon up here, and let's do some training over here. I'm not really sure of that.
Interesting.
But
Yeah.
that's kind of what they're showing me, is that we sanded it down, we put it up there, and then we using the back side of it, and the front side of it is affecting your earth. And anyway, I don't know.
Oh.
That's the image they're showing me right now.
Well, we're at an hour now, but I wanted to put this up. Katie Arbuckle. I love your picture there too, honey.
Yeah.
I agree we humans are quite noisy.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard the different planets in our galaxy? You can legit hear cars and radios on Earth.
Well, yeah, I mean, some other planets or galaxies, they talk also. So we're not the only ones, and there's a lot of ones out there that are kind of like us. So we are noisy, but there are other noisy ones too.
And there's different vibrational qualities for like the trees are noisy. I mean, elementals can be very noisy.
Definitely, the elementals woke me up one night going, "We're the elementals," and I was sat straight up in bed going, "These are the noisiest people I'd ever heard," and so, yeah.
Yeah.
I always laugh about that because they woke me right out of sound sleep, announcing themselves.
Yeah. And um, some of the traffic, the galactic traffic has been quite noisy as well, hasn't it?
Yeah, some of that
Yeah.
traffic. That's just different for every planet, every galaxy, every whatever. You can't just put a blanket answer on all that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, this has been a real treat.
It has been. I'm
I've
glad you
had
could
so
bug
much
me. It's been fun.
I've had a blast. I can't tell you. Oh, let's get this one in from Sassy Cindy because I love that. Who's feeling this frequency? The Schumann chart is wild.
Who isn't feeling it?
Yeah.
That would be my question. I think you need to, also everybody needs to accept that this is going on, this frequency, and don't poo-poo it away. Sit there and look at what's happening to you and your body and everything, because this is a strong energy that's going on, strong frequency. So just don't discard it, because we have what tomorrow, um, whatever, the
Solstice.
summer. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think, need to pay attention to it, be kind to your body, and look how it is affecting you.
Yeah. Yeah. There's an app I have on my phone. It's well, it was called Heart Math and now it's something else. But if you Google Heart Math, you'll find it. And you can get a thing from them, or you can also now you can put your finger on your phone on the flash or on the camera, and it will take the frequency of your body and measure it with the Schumann.
Oh my gosh, I'd be a little scared to see that. Mine would
Yeah,
probably fall off the chart.
might break your phone. Zam. All right. Oh, well, this has been so much fun. I can't tell you, Dr. Gail, and everybody here. Thank you for being here. Moderators, thank you so much. As always, you guys are amazing. And do you have anything else you want to say before we go?
I don't think so, but I do want to say thank you, Terry, and thank you everybody for joining us today. I appreciate y'all, and all of us are experiencing these things, and I'm just glad we're discussing it and bringing it out in the open. We need to normalize our experiences, because for so long we've been hiding. So thanks for joining us, and thanks for sharing everything.
Oh, thank you so much. All right, everybody. Namaste. My light sees your light. Bye-bye.
All right.
Uh-oh. We'll never leave, Dr. Gail.
Uh-oh. I know it takes a long